live there. That's live. Gotta switch over to Alpha Geek Radio, our live streaming partner. I don't know why I said it weird like that.
You always do. It's fucking weird.
I'm trying to put continuity in the show, Eric. Jeez.
Then why did you bring it up?
It's continuity.
No, but you brought it up.
I don't think you know what that word means.
I don't think that word thinks what I think it means. Let's start the show. Jeez, Joe, shut up. Just start the show already.
Hashtag continuity.
That's continuity
I
right
think
there.
that's more continuity than you bringing up the weird way of saying it.
Hello, Internet. I'm Joe.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Troy McClure, and you might remember me from such movies as... I got nothing.
Who's Troy McClure?
Go!
It would have worked. It would have worked so much better if you were like, and I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from such podcasts as Troy McClure in the movies, and Troy McClure answers questions.
And again, those classes are paying off for Eric. Look at that. That's comedy genius right there. Welcome to... This is the part where Eric usually says, welcome to Just Cool Enough. It's the show.
It never ends. It just goes on and on, my friends.
Speaking of going on and on, I'm looking through our email inbox this week, and I was like, oh, I got to think of ideas, things to talk about. And I had all these great topics about me, but then I looked at the email inbox, and it was a cornucopia of digital mail.
Yeah, too bad we're not going to get time to read it. So anyways.
you know, my favorite part of Windows 10 is when I start up my computer to do the show, so I'm here on time, and then it blue screens the moment that it turns on.
Like, you live in a magnetic field. No one else has problems like you. And generally that probably means it's with the user. Just say it.
Oh, here you go. So I can make up for earlier. I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such automated information kiosks as Welcome to the Springfield Airport and Where's Nordstrom?
Why did you wait that long to say that?
I was going to have it set up for the show, but then my whole computer crashed, and I lost the ability to do that.
Maybe you should put more than like a 5-second like buffer between...
Well, no, I usually have a little bit longer, but you see this guy who helped me build my computer, it boots up kind of fucking slow.
All right, so
that's why I got Joe's suggestions, but I had a company do it. I went through their options and like just told, and they set it all up.
Ike's computer?
So basically, what you do is you ask Joe what his opinion is, and then make sure you don't get anything in.
Well, no, he suggested I get the smaller solid-state hard drive and go with Windows 8, and then get a larger storage drive, and that was a great suggestion. So
yeah,
I did
it's like it's part of my job or something. It's weird.
I'm counting down the days, Joe. Are you counting down the days? Because I'm counting down the days.
At this
and
time,
days.
Next week at this time, we're going to be doing the show. But shortly after that time, we're going to be together.
Forever.
You're finally making it official?
Yep.
You're letting Sarah down gently and...
Well, now that it's legal in all 50 states.
Yep. Now it's time to get Ike on my insurance plan.
Yeah, thanks, Obama.
Thanks for supporting us, everyone. Seriously, look at all these emails. This is wonderful. People sent emails to our email address.
How about you pick a topic and talk about it? It's like, anyways, think about these emails, but more on that later. Next week something's happened, but more on that later.
Well, no, in Joe's defense, I believe you're the one who said, but we're never going to get to it.
No,
and then I tangent.
He just mentioned you two were gonna what's the story of you two?
All right, we have ADD, okay? We have ADD.
Thank you for keeping the show in line, Eric.
Oh look, something shiny.
So imagine how well I would be doing the show if I wasn't like looking at pornography in another tab.
That's how you keep your brain cells flowing.
We didn't even expect you to show up this week, to be honest. After we got our email last week, I was afraid we were just gonna have to do it without you.
Yeah, that would suck to wing it.
Yeah, I thought I had work today, but I don't.
So,
does that feel weird to say for you? I mean, I'm not like being offensive.
Yeah,
like,
no,
is uttering the words "I have to go to work" or "I thought I was going to be at work." Like, I'm surprised you haven't burst into flames.
No, it is different because like I remember leaving yesterday. I was like, okay, I gotta go to work now. I'm like, that's weird. And I had to drive to work. I had to park in employee parking. I had to check in, I had to clock in, and then check in with my supervising team, and then get all my stuff, and then like do work. I had to go on breaks. Afterwards, I had to go take. I had to get they clock out and check in my
Did you-
lunchtime. And
Did you get to meet the guy that's like working hard or hardly working and like doing like the like
no,
hand
because
motions with the gun?
nobody's like that. Because everyone's dressed in violent gore. Because it's like working hard or hardly working guy with a clearly slit neck.
I do my own makeup on the way to work. I hit as many pedestrians as possible.
So when I worked in a call center a long time ago, like in Indianapolis, one of the ladies said, like, it was just, she was like, you know, people hate small talk. Nobody wants small talk. And her best defense was to the guy that did that. It was like, hey, how's it going? You know, Tina, what's up? She'd just be like, another day in paradise. And just say it just like fucking Eeyore. I'm like, God, man, that is a great one. So that's the one I use. Somebody's like, hey, Joe, how you doing? I'm like, another day in paradise.
But
My
there
favorite's living the dream.
Living the
Like
dream.
Like at work. They're like, hey, you got kids say, yeah, living the dream. And then you walk away.
You're like, thanks for the small talk. And
I
then
mean,
what? So Eric, what
our
have you had?
experiences are different in a lot of ways because for one thing my job is a performance-based job, so
Mine is
like
too.
they want us to
Mine also is based on performance.
no
We're talking about Joe's prostitution job on the side, though.
obviously. No, but it's like it's like because like the 3 separate orientations I went to are like half pep rally, and then before the thing like there's like everyone's we're doing it, we're gonna do it, and then we did like group stretching and stuff, and then like we're gonna get it
It's
done,
like an Asian company or something.
No, it's a thing where I have to wear a shitload of armor and carry a very heavy prop gun around for hours at a time. So,
Oh man, it sucks to be you.
no,
Between you and Christina going to work for Blizzard, I don't even know how you guys deal with your jobs.
you don't know how hard it is because I've got to dress up in a very well put together costume, and then people
LARPing! Ugh.
people walk by me and I lunge at them and threaten to shoot and or smash their faces in with the butt of my gun, and then they scream in terror. It's the
Does it work?
worst.
Have you
That
been able
actually
to terrify
sounds like
people?
school for me. I usually lunge at people with something threatening and
Have you gotten to scare someone yet, Eric?
Yeah, I've scared a little, but I've been kind of like because the section I'm standing in is kind of like there's not a lot of place to hide, and there was a lot of us. I found myself yesterday kind of working as like the distraction. I'd be like standing there like with my fucking gun, like trying to be all like soldier and intimidating, and people are like fucking like looking at me like keeping their distance, and then the guy they didn't see like fucking comes at them because like not all the guys have guns. Like I have a gun, but some of them just have like a flashlight and like this noisemaker thing. So it's like they look at me and they're like, "Oh shit!" And then the guy comes like,
Now let's for continuity's sake, do you think you could tell the listeners out there what it is that you do for a job, since this might be some people's first time listening?
Yeah,
For
we
those of
actually
you who
picked up a
don't
shit
know.
ton of first-time listeners. So hello, new listeners.
Hello, new listeners. Yeah, I am a character for the Universal Studios Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights, which basically is they do. If you've never been to it or the one in Orlando, they basically during the Halloween season. It doesn't start till Friday for us. This last night was just employee preview, but they turn the entire park into one giant fucking haunted house, and it's amazing. Like it goes from like normally like when you walk through Universal Studios, like you open the door and it's like this upbeat music, and you'll see like some minions or like a guy dressed as Woody Woodpecker or Frankenstein, classic Hollywood monsters. You can get your picture. Not during Halloween Horror Nights. When you walk in, it's like straight up like Rob Zombie and just like screaming and fire and dark, and it's just like like Juggalo clown strippers and and then there's all these really awesome mazes and
So that's what it's like when Joe goes over to Germany, I think. Just
Yeah.
like that.
Actually, not too far from the truth.
yeah.
Oh man, so it
Dudes
you
with
really don't-
chainsaws just literally chasing people like
Like, but are they the ones like where the chain's been removed, so they but it's not actually
it
doing
makes
it?
the fucking noise
Oh,
still.
man.
Those,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I stumbled over. We're talking about, speaking of haunted houses and everything. There's a haunted house by me where you get a paintball gun and you shoot zombies away as you go through a trail. like you jump into the back of a wagon and they take you through a haunted trail and a corn maze or something, and you fucking shoot zombies as they're like coming out after you. I'm like, this is amazing. I need to do this.
Actually, I was gonna wait till the Thursday night when I got to your house, and when you went to bed and turned all the lights off, I was gonna walk through your house with a paintball gun, shooting anyone that I came across. And yelling, zombie.
You know,
so if
I'm
you get
getting-
shot a few times, I'm not sorry.
You know, I was like, oh man, Ike paid a lot for that flight. We'll make sure that we don't sell the house just for Ike. And so
Yeah, 'cause
now,
that's the reason
as
why
the date
I'm concerned
approaches, I'm getting more creeped out by having Ike in my house.
You should.
You're gonna wake up with Polaroids of you sleeping on your chest.
It's like, I hope that's the worst that happens, honestly. Oh man, so yeah, if you don't know, I got married a few months back, didn't tell anybody, and now I'm deciding.
You could
to have,
what?
Yeah, why? So actually, it's working. More people. What? And then Eric was like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna get a job and not see you." And then
That's actually explicitly why he's like, fuck, I need a good reason not to go
God.
see Joe.
Yeah.
I got a job, guys.
Eric's social anxiety is so intense. He's like, I've known him on the internet for so long. I don't know how to transition into real life.
Yeah. I mean, you may think, well, isn't a job more social? And you're like, no, because I'm head to toe decked out in armor and a gas
Scaring
mask.
people away from
Yeah,
you.
I have a
Right.
gas mask, so literally just this much of my face is showing at any given time. Just
Can
just
anybody
like
hear
these
you? Or are you
eyes.
just like,
I mean,
Me too.
they probably can't. If I try and talk, I'd probably sound more Bane. I'd probably.
You
It sounds
may
like-
have adopted the Halloween Horror Nights. I was born into it. I'm molded by it.
temporarily.
You need
for
to
the
take some of the
season.
quotes from the Pyro from TF2, though.
Yeah,
It's
just-
like,
I would, but they were very explicit that if we were not specifically given lines, you are not allowed to speak.
So wait, so like, what are the lines you can say?
Uh,
Like,
I
if a
can-
kid
I
comes up
can
to you and be like,
grunt
"Hey, you're an
or growl.
asshole." What do you say?
I can grunt or growl at people, and they want to like you try to keep it like from the diaphragm so you don't blow out your voice. So you're just like, ugh, you know, but no, there's no talk.
that
I
from
am
my
not allowed
diaphragm?
to talk.
How do you know if it's from your diaphragm? Is that
If
lower
you
or
feel
up?
it in your throat, then it's coming from your
Ugh.
throat.
now, did you go up to them and like tell them about your podcast? So when they're like, "Listen, you're not supposed to talk," were you like, "Hey, do you understand? Like, that's not part of who I am."
No, because I didn't want to lose my job. So if your question you're gonna have for me is, did you do a thing that would cause you to lose your job? The answer is no. I didn't do any of those things.
You know, I'm so sick of people joining the live chat and then leaving, not even saying anything. They just join in and then they leave. If they want to join the live chat, they can. It's justcoolenough.com/live. But at least stay around. Like, I don't know what we even did. Like, we didn't even know what we did wrong. You're just gone. So anyway.
They showed up the wrong one. It's like when you.
Oh, I wanted to be morecoolenough.com. Oops.
allthecoolenoughs.com. So
Yeah.
again, even though I'm sure we'll get to emails to bring up again just for continuity's sake within the show, the past couple of weeks
Quit
we've
saying
actually
continuity. Why does everyone keep saying continuity?
because Joe brought it up,
The
so I'm
word
just
of the
actually
day is
excessively using
continuity.
continuity. If
Yeah,
you
but
use
you're
the word
supposed to
3
use the
times correctly, it becomes yours. So I'm just figuring if I keep throwing it in there, eventually I'm going to use it 3 times correctly, and it will become mine.
Continuity. Are we going to look up more words today? You know, the uptick of the use of continuity has gone up since the 1950s, peaking just before 2010. Anyway.
So we've actually, although I know Eric used to look for stories and probably still does, we also had a story monkey who's been finding stories for me and then giving them to me, and we never get around to actually talking about it because I'm always like, yeah, thank you, but maybe today I'll touch on one of those when we get around to story time.
Okay.
If we get around to story
That's
time.
not continuity, though.
Cool story, bro.
That was terrible.
No, the continuity part was getting off track and bringing up emails because we've been continuously bringing up the fact we have emails and not actually reading any of them.
Okay, let's
We've
go
been
to some of these
continually
emails.
bringing up all kinds of things and then never getting to them.
That's the whole show. Like, we burned through, like, 40 minutes worth of topics in 5 seconds. Like, why don't we have anything to talk about?
Well, it's like those sports networks where they put all the crap up in like the side panel and like, okay, 30 seconds to go over, except we're more like it's 3 seconds to go over, and then we just keep bringing them up and then moving on.
We're, like, pardon the interruption with only the interruption parts.
I forgot to show my lower thirds. People don't know who I am.
Rookie.
All right, we have this email, just books and stuff. That must be the wrong show. We're just cool enough.
Yeah.
All right,
Delete
I'll
it.
skip it. But all right. Since we don't get many emails, I'll read it. Hey, Eric, Joe, and Ike. longtime listener, first-time emailer here. Love the show and so proud of you guys. Proud of Joe for getting married, Eric with a K for getting a job, and Ike
Yeah,
for
fuck you.
reading-
That's not how you spell my name.
Maybe
You
he's
did it
proud of a
right.
different Eric.
He
Yeah.
did put the C in the Hey Eric. He just changed it to a K within the
Yeah,
email.
he's proud of the other Eric who's been on the show, who works at Hulu. I'm proud of him. He's got a nice
That's
job.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
He's
you
probably
got a
proud
job.
of the other Eric too.
He would have hooked me up with some free Hulu, but I didn't have an active account. And he's like, I could have upgraded you to Showtime. I was like, yeah, but I already got cable. I don't need it.
Sounded like an 80-year-old.
And apparently he's proud of me for reading this email without messing it up. However, I already have, and I probably will continue to do that. He goes on to say, but on to my reason for emailing. Ages ago, you spoke about Ready Player One and how good it was, and I finally got around to reading it myself. I'm not much of a reader, so it took me a while to get through. Just finished it and loved it, but was wondering if there's anything you would recommend to read next that might appeal in a similar way. Apologies for the rambling on. Gary from England.
I know what Eric's going to say, and I would agree with him.
No, you don't.
He's already gone to the future and seen it. He knows, and that's why he's
Okay,
agreeing.
what am I going to say?
I think,
Penthouse
I
forums.
think you're at least going to say Snow Crash is something you need to read. If you've read Ready Player One, you will enjoy Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. That would be my answer. I was like, go there next, because that's an awesome book.
That's a good choice. That's not what I would have said, but that is a good... I probably would have brought that up eventually.
See? All right. I'm almost there.
I was going to say Old Man's War because it has more of the because it's got more of the lightheartedness of that. Like basically anything from John Scalzi is he has a very similar tone to the writer of Ready Player One. I think he wrote he's quoted in the Ready Player One book as he's got a review. It's like, oh, this is so good or whatever. But I'm a huge fan of John Scalzi. So basically anything he did. If you want something a little more fun, there's Red Shirts, which is kind of a parody of Star Trek, or some of his more original fiction, like his series Old Man's War is great. He's got this one called I forget what the fuck it's called. Anything he does is good. Everything I've read of his is great.
One I would say is, and we talked about this a while back, but when we were going to start the Just Cool Enough book club or whatever, The Forever War is a really cool... I don't know, Eric, did you ever read that?
Yes, we all read it as the book club. We did an
yeah.
entire episode about
I can't
where we
remember.
reviewed that book.
I loved that book. I thought it was really good. But it's not really... I don't know if it's in the same vein, but it's definitely one of those ones that kind of make you think, and I would...
Yeah, time
I'll throw it away.
traveling, but again, Joe can't remember when he's come back to at what point because he does so much hopping around.
Well,
He's
it's
like, did they
because
read
I
it
jumped-
yet? Didn't they read it yet?
No,
I can't remember.
I experienced time really differently when I got sent away from in that spaceship and went to an awesome war. And then I came back and everybody was older than me or whatever. They all died.
It's called Time Dilation.
And
Yeah.
I have a book that's nothing like any of those.
Wait,
because
why are
that's
you
what
gonna
I do.
why are you gonna recommend that? Is this like the oddball's choice?
Yeah, exactly. This is like if you're looking for something way outside because you want something a little different, I would recommend Patient Zero by Jonathan Mayberry. If you like if you like James Bondy type, not quite even. If you like secret agent-y, weird zombie type things, this is the series to go with. It starts with Patient Zero, and the main character's name is Joe Ledger, and there's about 6 of these books, maybe 8 of them out right now. But Patient Zero is definitely a cool one to go through. I'm not a huge fan of reading myself, but it was definitely one of those books that I couldn't put down.
Oh, I'm surprised we all had things to say there, especially me.
Speaking of things to say, we have, wow, Joe, grow some balls. This is from Max. Max says, Joe, I know you wanted to read that email, but to me it looked like Eric convinced you otherwise.
I did.
Listen, Joe, I thought you were born with a dick. Now, this may be the case, but it seems like your balls were forgotten. Yeah, I'm reading this right. All right, forgotten, but during your fetal development. Grow a pair. You got a dick. No one can take that from you. Come on,
Actually,
kid. Let's go. I know a good place. They got toast.
So this is like a weird pep speech.
Yeah.
Like, all right, this is like
Again,
something-
if
Come on, kid.
we had time before the show, I would have told you not to read this email as well.
Well, I'm just reading all the star stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah,
should
I
I
know.
read this one from Noma?
Yeah, you should read that one.
Are you sure? Because I'm going to get halfway through it, and he's like, well, had I read this also before?
We have
No,
one
just
from-
that one specific, that last
Oh,
one.
well, I mean, aside from the
had
atrocious
time before
grammar,
the
I
show.
always enjoy telling Joe to grow a pair.
Yeah.
Especially now that he's married.
Well, I can't because it's somebody else's now. That's what you get. And no one tells you, but when you get married, then you trade them away for other powers. It's like I lost my singing voice when I went through puberty, but then I gained other new powers because of puberty. It's like it's the same thing.
Yeah, but you're only trading down. It's like I have one really good power, and I'm trading down for three
I don't know.
marginally acceptable powers, which then I then later trade down when I get a little older for like 5 more subpar powers. But at least I have 5 of them.
It's like the stock market, you know. Like you can there's winners and losers.
No, I just feel like with men it's losing.
Why? Why is
The
it
women-
losing?
So what are you winning on? Except for an excuse to go home. Sorry, my wife needs me. I have to go.
Well, that always works. I don't know.
See, my superpower is when my friends are like after school, hey, you want to go to the bar? I'm like, yeah, I don't have kids. I can go anywhere I want. And
Oh,
then
yeah,
my
that's
other
the
friends
other
like,
stage
shit,
you're
I gotta
talking-
go
okay.
make sure my wife will let me go, or
I
make
was
sure somebody's
wondering-
watching the kids.
I was wondering. I'm like, what is the next trade-in? Like, I don't know when that happens. But you're talking about kids. After you get married, you get kids. That's the thing. Oh yeah, that's a lot of trading in. I don't know. I honestly, just a quick marriage update. Don't feel any different than I did before I was married. So, newsflash.
Is that
Let's
like a
go on to the
birthday?
next- let's-
Like, hey, you're 28 now. How does that feel? I don't know. Like when I was
yeah, it's
27,
like-
it fucking doesn't matter.
The same
Maybe-
fucking way it felt yesterday.
Maybe it has something to do with the fact that you guys have been living in the same house together for like 5 years.
So like I can imagine if you only knew somebody for a few like minutes or months or something, and then like you got married shortly after
Hey.
that.
My name's Ike. Nice to meet you. Want to get married? Sure, let's do this.
Well, even like more like the people that don't like move in together straight away or stuff like that, that can be different. But
Let's
You learn
do
a lot
marriage
about a
counseling
person when
show.
you're moving.
Well, we have another email by.
We have emails? Oh, yeah. This has come from Noma. Noma says freedom of speech in the subject. Hey, JCE crew, it's Noma again. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, I'm interested in your opinion about online harassment. Recently, I paid a settlement fee of about $500 for talking smack about someone's mom on the internet. Where I live, it's common practice for people, including celebrities, to sue for this kind of behavior. So my question is, where do you draw the line? Do you wish you could take legal action against people that talk crap about you online, or is it infringing on your freedom of speech? How do you deal with such situations? I'm sorry this email is rambly, but I'd be happy to know what you think on the topic, Noma.
Whoa, that's actually I've never heard of. Well, I've heard of lawsuits and things happening, but it have.
I think
I've heard of your mom happening.
oh,
I'm gonna sue you.
Oh.
I don't think you can do that in this country. I think he's in one of them foreigner countries where that kind of stuff happens. 'cause-
I don't know what kind of socialist foreigner country he's from, but it sounds
Yeah.
like Obama made all the rules.
Yeah. Damn you, Obama! Stop making all these foreign laws. Yeah, freedom of speech is an interesting thing because it doesn't mean what a lot of people think it means. A lot of people think it means
I
freedom.
can say what I want.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want. You can't get mad, which isn't
Yeah,
the case.
it's not permission to be an asshole.
No, it is. It's just not. It's not freedom from consequences. But also, like, in this country, I don't think. I mean, there's slander laws and shit like that. I don't know, but talking smack about someone's mom online. I mean, fucking do what you want. I don't see why you would
Imagine what
say
this
that
kid-
shit.
Imagine what this Noma kid had to say to get like a 500 euro or whatever 500 ruble fine. Like, what do you got to say about somebody's mom?
I think I would be sued by a lot of my students' parents or kids if that were the. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
think I don't know. Like, it would have to be some heinous shit. Like, we've gotten takedown notices a while back. I know like somebody was contacting us through our Facebook saying like, "Hey, this person's just putting terrible shit up about me. Can you please take it down?" And I think we took it.
Yeah,
down
that
like
was.
a year
I remember
later.
that. It was like a couple years ago. It's like some dude. I don't know why.
Some asshole. Like
Decided
there's-
to like in the middle of our comment section.
Yeah.
Unrelated was like Becky's a slut. She's a bitch hoe. Like just whatever.
Yeah.
Like her full
Total-
name and shit like that. And I was like,
It did,
and
she-
like she contacted us on Facebook. It's like, can you get rid of this shit? And I was
But
like,
the worst.
I
part
take
is-
that as a compliment because you could have gone in the middle of like the Tonight Show YouTube page and done it for a lot more people to see. For some fucking reason, he chose our show because he
Yeah.
thought enough people would see it.
Maybe he thought it was like a message in a bottle. Like He was
Yeah,
just gonna, like,
he threw hate into an ocean just to see what would happen.
But yeah, the worst part about that story is Eric or I, like, we didn't notice it for like a year.
Well, because if you're not like following, like liking us on our Facebook page, then when you send us a message, it gets put in the other section, so it's like it doesn't show up on like notifications. So it was like 6 months or a year went by before we even noticed this was a thing.
Yeah, it was. I actually felt terrible because it's like, oh man, this poor girl. You know, like, why would somebody do that? I just don't understand the point of like putting. This is gonna sound terrible. I don't understand the point of putting somebody down for for no reason.
I do it all the time.
I'm sure he had a reason. It probably was stupid, but they always have reasons. Like there was, I forget what it was, but I was hearing about there's like a podcast or something where it was like this female comedian talked with this guy who just for years like has been just hounding her on like social media all over the place, just constantly saying stuff like that, and they finally like had a conversation like over Skype with this dude, and he was like, yeah, no, I mean he's like a normal dude, he's like married and kids and just like everyday normal dude. It's just like one time on Twitter she made a fat joke, so he made it his like life mission for 3 years to like fucking destroy her over the internet, and that was just like he's like he'd like go to work, you know, take his kids to school, do grocery shopping, and spend like a couple minutes out of every day, like take his lunch break to like just the most heinous things you could say to a person, and then like go back to his normal. And it's just
the thing that blows my mind is if you take that amount of time to make somebody like to try to destroy someone, and you take all those people who spend that amount of time and turn it around and say like, let's put it towards cancer research, let's put it towards like making life a better place for everyone. Imagine how much better life would be really quickly overall.
You idiot! That's a load of shit.
Yeah, you're stupid, and so's your family.
And your ideas are dumb, and you should feel bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like,
I mean,
yeah,
I feel like people like I don't understand. I don't want to comment on Noma's situation because I don't understand.
Because it's a
the
legal
full...
situation, we can't comment.
I could easily comment. I just don't know. I don't know all this shit. He just said he got fined $100 for talking smack on the internet. That could be what it was. It could be like he was playing a game and it's like, man, you suck at this game. And your mom sucks dick. And then $500. Or it could have been like he tracked this guy down on his Facebook page and like photoshopped his mom. Like I don't know. It could be on either end of the spectrum somewhere in there. So I don't feel like I don't want to defend or demonize this guy, but
your mom was so fat when she went to the doctors, he told her she better watch her weight because she might get diabetes.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm suing you.
Yeah.
What kind of legal situation is that? I don't know. Like the freedom of speech thing, there's lines. Like you can't yell fire in a theater. You know, you're not supposed to put other people in harm's way. But
I feel like half the internet would now be bankrupt because the other half would take legal ramifications and action against them because YouTube is just scroll down the comments. Like if we went after every single person who said a bad comment, people would be millionaires and we fucking could fund the show probably.
But also on not our show, nobody gives a shit.
We don't get comments.
But on the other end of the spectrum, fuck those people. Like people who just spend all day just like spitting hate. Like also fuck those people. Like yeah, they should have the ability to say this shit, and we should get over it. But also fuck those people.
But the way I deal with it is I don't feed the trolls. I think that's a really good rule, and I heard that first from Strixus a long time ago. Don't feed the trolls. And then I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So then I don't acknowledge them, and because that's what they want. They want to get a rise out of you. So people that do that kind of shit, like I've been called all kinds of terrible things. There's videos up there like, you know, especially about weight or like who's fucking Guido's guy's brother and like what are these two Goombas doing together? They must be related. Like that was like one of the best comments I ever read. It was a picture of like me and my brother and like I bet you those two Goombas are related. I'm like, what the fuck? They called me a Goomba. That's awesome.
Yeah, and there's like, I don't think I've ever really gotten anything that terrible. Which like nobody's ever really gone after me. They were like, man, this is stupid, or I don't like I've never been personally attacked all that much, which is kind of disappoints me because I feel like I'm not doing well enough to earn that. You know, like no, I haven't done anything. Like I'm not good enough because nobody actively hates me that much. Like, I feel like when you earn yourself a couple of those guys that will just constantly create parody Twitter accounts and shit and just try and because they hate you, then you've really made it. Then you know you've made something of yourself.
I think that I couldn't keep participating in this conversation.
Well, after all that shit you said about him,
Yeah, well,
he has to, his lawyer informed him he should
he
yeah.
sues the show.
yeah.
That's how he's planning on getting reimbursed.
And it's CEO.
It is 7:01, and it literally just kind of.
What are you doing? Why are you doing that, Ike? Your internet.
Well, because my modem likes to cut out randomly. So I was waiting for it to come back on, so I was calling up Comcast again, who I thought fixed the problem and clearly hasn't, and left a nice message.
Oh my gosh, dude. I can't.
Anyway, no,
Yeah.
we're just gonna roll. We're gonna roll with this.
All right, we got another email.
Speaking of trolls, which is one of the last thing I said before I got cut off. Speaking of trolls, we got this email from Fuzzy Nuts. It's an unsolicited comments from Fuzzy Nuts, and I think there might be some stuff in here we could sue him over. So we should listen carefully.
Awesome.
All right, to the show. Please do not let Joe read this on the air. Someone else please step up to the plate. If I have to listen to him read another email to the degree he read the last one, come on. 3 attempts to read it, and it was different each damn time. And really, I don't want to be read in a pussified voice he used. If you feel you must let him read it in a chance to redeem himself, then so be it.
Can I just say, I don't like the theme of some of these emails. They got this one that said Joe was pussified, another one that said he didn't have balls. I think it's 2015. I think we can take gender out of this stuff. There are plenty of other gender-neutral things that you could call Joe for his ineptity.
So
basically, don't have to make light of women.
So
I
basically,
know, right?
we should start the hashtag free the testicles.
Yeah.
We just have to be very careful what kind of drawback we get from that, because that could be really bad pictures.
I would just say, if you're going to insult Joe, which we definitely encourage, just try and keep it more gender neutral, or don't imply that he's somehow don't imply his ineptity with his perceived femininity or lack of masculinity.
Strokes are fine, apparently, or weight issues could be fine. We accept that.
Also true. Also true.
There's-
Those are good as currency. Also, a good old "fuck you, Joe" at an email that always goes a long way.
I mean, get creative. I'm just saying that that creativity comes from the limitations. So just know your limitations and then find the creativity within them. That's where you're the most creative.
I was doing an experiment about not swearing, and my vocabulary was just expanded drastically. So
Yeah, clearly it's not working for you now.
well, I mean that's speech. Vocabulary and speech are two different things. Anyway, keep reading the email.
Very sophisticated. He goes on to say, congrats to Eric. Someone buy him big boy pants. What a year you're having. Get a job. He did. Oh, I got you. He's listing them off. What a year you're having. Get a job. Start driving again. And driving at wee hours of the night, period.
I'm just for future purposes, you should have gone, what a year you are having, semicolon, which would indicate that you're starting the list, and then get a job.
Well, he's had a few grammar issues, but we'll
I'm just saying, that's for future. We're an educational podcast for us.
We're actually switching over from comedy to education, so we can get more traction. We're gonna be there with Bill Nye and shit.
Yeah.
My students at school know that I'm not the best speller, and they usually frequently catch me on poor spelling issues, and I always joke that I'm the art teacher. But then I always catch them on grammar issues, and they say, well, that's not right. And I said, no, you have to understand, I know I have really subpar ability with English and grammar, so if I can catch your mistakes, that means you're really terrible at what you're doing. Anyway, he goes on to say, that might be the most construed as a public social life. All kidding aside, I really do not know any of your I feel like there's am I reading this wrong? All kidding aside, I really do not know any of you outside the show. Who knows, maybe there's something more to you guys outside the show, but between the digital world, D&D, and cars, who has the time? That should have ended with a question mark. Eric and Ike, keep talking about...
I'm gonna get the red pen out. I'm gonna start highlighting some stuff.
Let's mark it up. We'll do we'll do a pure editing session, and then we can send it back to him. Maybe
Yes.
we'll get some better ideas.
If you could email your emails to another listener first, and then email. No.
Write your emails and pass it to another listener. They'll critique it and then pass it back. Then that's the first draft.
But by the way, spoiler alert. Did you finish the D&D campaign?
Yes.
Wait, just don't talk about D&D for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Continue
we
reading the
promise we
email.
won't. I'm gonna keep reading. Eric and I keep the talk up about D&D. It's the only time that Joe shuts the fuck up. And besides, I always wanted to play D&D, but never had the patience for stupid people. Really, steal a baby? Who does that? Or sit in a bar for an hour before someone asks around for information? Come on, I can go to a real bar, get drunk, and leave without any information less than an hour. Keep it up. I'll live out my D&D vicarious existence through you and the people you DM for.
Okay, so D&D update.
Okay, can we do this after the email? We've already.
No, we
because-
have to take this point by point.
You have to take this point by point. He was nice enough to put these in separate paragraphs to give us time to read it out.
Okay, all right, fine.
So we finished, Ike, because school wasn't there, but we finished basically running the Lost Mines of Phandalin, which is one of the starter set campaign. We fought a bunch of spiders, killed a bunch of dudes and stuff, and we're the heroes. It was fun. It sucked because not everyone was there, like Ike. And it was kind of unfortunate because our GM was like I just don't have time, so this will probably be the last time we play for a little while. So my regular D&D game has ended. But serendipitously, last week when we didn't do D&D, I went to a real life one, and they do it all the time. And then I was able to go do it again. So now that'll probably be my regular D&D game for a while.
And I was just thinking, because I didn't get to see the end of the mines, and I would like to, but I was thinking, oh man, one thing when Joe has his wedding reception, we could all play, because Amanda's going to be there, we could all play together in real life with dice at a table, but then our DM's not going to be there, so that's
You can Skype me in.
yeah, there you go.
I mean, I got enough room at the house that didn't sell.
With all the furniture you don't have.
With all the furniture we do not have, that's true. But we do have a couch for you.
Yeah.
I was told, and then Amanda's like, do you think we should stay at a hotel because we'd have more privacy? I'm like, yeah, but they have to drive us around.
But yeah, but if you're gonna.
And I
bang
figured
it
you
out,
didn't mind if I walked around naked anyway.
No, that's
so.
cool with me. I like if you're gonna bang it out, like put a towel down.
Because there's no couch, really. It is a towel. That's
No,
what we
yeah,
get.
we don't even.
Amanda actually asked, should we bring sleeping bags?
No,
Like, I think we'll be okay. They probably at least have a towel.
Yeah, we have a towel. Don't worry.
Anyway, back to Joe, he goes on to say, and his so-called big news, even though he didn't use quotation marks, big news last week, come, don't worry about being the fucked up uncle. The parents are going to do more damage to the kid before he or she is even 2. By that time, there'll be little that you will be able to do to that kid in the short period of time you're around them. Hell, you might even straighten them out later in life, or fuck them up more. Just go with the flow and try not to look like an asshole relative to that is trying too hard.
Oh man, that's tough. I'm always looking like an asshole that's trying too hard.
Yeah, that's kind of his default.
That's kind of my thing. That's my shtick.
And I try to carry on some verbal barrage that lasts longer than 30 seconds. Besides, set Joe at ease. Tell him stories about how you are fucking up these kids in art class. Let's face the next Monet is not coming to this world anytime soon. Have you seen the bullshit that parents hang up on the fridge in the house? I know participation and good effort will get you a B grade, but don't let that go over their heads.
So he's calling you out. I think he's like.
No,
yeah,
he's making fun of the system.
Yeah, it's the participation awards. We had to talk about this in school the other day where we had to write this poem, like, I am from, and one of the things I wrote was, I'm from participation awards. Like,
What?
We talked about it. I had the baseball, when I was in baseball, and at the end of the season in Little League, everyone's like, you got the baseball for, like, the most RBIs. You got the baseball for, like, most home runs. And they're like, here, Ike, you got the baseball for showing up to every game. I'm like,
Worst
yay!
award ever.
Anyway, in the final little bit, he goes to say, I know this is not a 2-line emails that you get in the past, but I want you, but you want an email, and let's face it, you are just cool enough to warrant my attention sometimes. Don't take my words for anything, but I'm still trying to learn to drive my own fucking car after having it for 3 weeks. Fuzzy Nuggets.
Thanks, Fuzzy Nuggets. He seems like a nice person.
I aside from some grammar issues and my inability to read some parts, not due to his grammar issues, that was
Well,
very
see,
well
the thing that
constructed email.
the thing that the listeners have to understand is we don't really pre-read these emails. I mean, we'll go through them, but it's hard to.
We'll
read
just
them out.
edit it out in post
Yeah.
after
all
the
that.
live show.
You mean the 30 seconds Eric cuts out before he throws the intro music in? That's the post. Well,
Yeah.
if you would like to participate in our email extravaganzas, you can email the show at theshow@justcoolenough.com. Again, that email address is theshow@justcoolenough.com. And if you can't remember it, or it's just too hard to remember, you can go to justcoolenough.com. And I actually, by request, because somebody asked me, they said, hey, where's your email address? I'm like, it's on the site. And they're like, I don't see it. And it's like, okay, fine, it's not listed on the site, but there's an email icon in between our
There's a
Twitter and
button.
Facebook one.
Of a picture of a piece of mail, a letter, and if you click that, it will open
I
up.
don't know. We're in the email age. I don't know what a letter looks like anymore.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like we're still like old fashioned. This is like we're on the internet, but
It's
we're
the
asking
same
for
icon
telegrams.
that all mail apps use. It's
Just in case you're from somewhere, I put it up there on the site, right there in the friggin' top left. The show at justcoolenough.com. No explanation. It just reads the show at justcoolenough.com.
Yeah.
Send us.
You should make it. Make it a picture. That way we don't get a bunch of unsolicited bullshit. That's what I did last time.
Yeah, I was looking
but-
for that picture. I didn't see it.
Speaking of driving, I know I mentioned I started driving last week, but that was like I didn't have my insurance card, so I was driving like I wasn't driving solo. But basically, last Thursday, got my insurance card. I've just been driving up a storm. It's weird. I have this. I have freedom. I could literally do any. I could go places. Like I remember I went to an improv practice, and I was like, I need to get one of those like things so I can use my phone, because I can't hold my phone while I drive, so I need something to like hold it on the car so that I can look at GPS. And I was like, oh, there's like a CVS 4 blocks from here. I'll just fucking go to it. I drove to it, parked in the parking lot, bought a thing, left it. I was like, this is great. And, when I wanted to go to work, I just fucking drove it to work. When I needed to go home, I just fucking drove home. I didn't have to like call my mom or an Uber or anything and wait half an hour.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, and like I was sitting there, like I drove all the way to Reseda for game night, which was interesting, because I was like I don't know if I'll do this, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just drive out there, and it was great. But I remember thinking like maybe I'll fucking stop by a shop and pick up a board game. Like I could fucking just go beforehand or afterward. Like I could go today. I could just go do
This is
something
like
today
how-
if I want to.
It's like
So
you're a 30-something-year-old, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
This is where we like at the end of the show cut to the map that has a little dot on like where Eric is in Los Angeles, and that just has one of those arrows about where he travels in his car like in 5 minutes, and then he ends up on like the East Coast somewhere just because he had so much fun
Yeah,
driving.
why don't you drive over this way?
I can't.
He has a job. He can't right now. He wants to, but he can't.
Trust me, I want to. It just Horror Nights opens Friday, and then tomorrow I'm shooting something, and then Also, I don't like you, and
Yeah, well, that's also part of it. So this whole driving thing and your new freedom, have you been able to
Do
explore?
you drive a Prius?
No, he drives a Cavalier.
Yeah, I figured you drive a Prius because I thought all pretentious assholes that drive in California drove Priuses.
yeah.
Oh, man, I know a lot of California people that drive some pretty badass vehicles. A lot of the crews over there that do some awesome car reviews and videos. It's cool. California, I'm actually really jealous of where you're at, Eric, because you can drive an hour and then be in these amazing driving roads and have just spectacular like Sunday morning driving around either on Pacific Coast Highway or through all these amazing mountain roads that just a lot of the country just doesn't get, and especially here in Michigan, everything's just kind of straight turn. So I'm actually
I've
really
lived
jealous
in
of your
Los
roads.
Angeles for 4 years. I've never been to the Pacific Coast Highway because it's like 20 minutes away, and that's forever in Los Angeles terms.
Well, that's forever in Ireland terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
little. So
That's on the west side. I don't want to drive all the way to the fucking west side.
it's so weird because like somebody from Taiwan. I was talking to him a few weeks ago, or was it this week? God damn. Anyway, I was talking to somebody from Taiwan, and they were like, "What? You've never been to New York?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "It's so close. So why didn't you go?" And it's like, "Well, it's because
You've been to Canada, right?
Yeah, I've been to Canada, but like it's like, well, rather than going to New York for a week, I was like, I want to go like out of the country. I went to Ireland or something. Italy.
There's a
You
weird
went to a gay bar in Providence.
It's this weird perspective thing, because like I've never been to Canada, and I'm like, oh, if you fucking went to Canada, but then like I used to go to San Francisco all the time because it was like 3-hour drive. I had an aunt that lived there. We went all the time, and then people were like, oh my god, you've been to San Francisco? I was like, yeah, it's just fucking San Francisco. It's just a place.
And that's how Canada is for me. Being Detroit, like from 18, 19, 20, because the drinking age in the U.S. is 21. I spent a lot of time in Canada. Windsor is a crazy city.
So what you're saying is you're an alcoholic.
I was an alcoholic. No, I don't want to say the term I was an alcoholic because that's using that term lightly, and I don't want to take that lightly. That shit fucking sucks. But yeah, so I did go to Windsor a lot, and I have spent a lot of time in Canada, multiple nights, hours, and monies.
Nights that he doesn't remember. They'll blur together.
Oh gosh, man! Like I was trying to cross the border. I don't speak any French, but the border guard on the way there, he was like, I don't even know what the name of the street is, but I'm like, a car full of bros. I'm the one driving. They're like, where are you going? What are you doing? And obviously he knows we're going across the border to get fucked up in your country, and then we're gonna drive back later after we eat some pizzas and go to some really crappy gentlemen's clubs. And so the guy's like, obviously
because eating pizzas and going to terrible gentlemen's clubs isn't something you enjoy doing here in the States. You have to cross the border for it.
I was under 21,
okay,
and I could drink legally in Canada. So that's just like a rite of passage if you live in the area and you're into that stuff. But this guy, he waited until I spoke it in French perfectly. Like he said word by word where I'm gonna go in French Canadian, and then I can go across the border.
You had to say the word "a" after every part of a sentence.
Poutine, A, hockey, A. Maple
drinking.
Syrup, A. But I was like, what? How could, like, why are he's abusing his power? This is not cool, man.
When you're in Canada, you speak Canadian.
One of the best times was we were coming back through the border, and it was after school. We saw one of our teachers who was working the border patrol, like as his off duty, like in the summer when you just pick up like a part-time job. His part-time job was border patrol. And we're like, oh my gosh, Mr. Whatever, sweet beard, dude, we love it. He's like, I put the beard on so people don't notice me. I'm like, yeah. And, I have a whole car full of drunk people, and it was a good time. But yeah, I spent a lot of time. Oh, where were we? Were we talking about perspective?
I don't know. I said. Yeah, I drove a car, and then you started talking about Canada for no reason.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Speaking of driving a car, Eric, I don't know how things are going on the woman front. I know that now you're branching out and meeting more people.
Yeah.
But I have some potentially good news. Are you really into bacon?
I mean, I like it just fine. I'm kind of over the deification of it.
Because good news, Oscar Mayer is coming out with a dating app. You can find people online who also love bacon the same way and the same type as you, and then maybe you make that love connection.
The problem is, I wouldn't say that I love bacon. I like it just fine. And also, I cannot use a dating app. The fucking, like, I tried Tinder like 2 years ago. And then I was like, I felt incredibly judgmental, and I was like, I hate this. Like I was like, I don't. This girl doesn't.
You're like swiping to the right and left. You're just like, I don't.
Yeah,
really
like
know
I'd be
him. Why? How can I judge somebody?
I don't
so
know
quick?
you. Like apparently we have interests in common according to Facebook, but you seem like you're really out of my league. So no. You don't. I don't really think. But I feel like who am I to judge? Who am I to judge you? So yeah. And then when I got a fucking a match, I was like, fuck, uninstall, like just.
Well, but this is bacon. I mean, what's better than bacon to draw two people together?
Well, I think that this is marketing, actually, and it really bothers me. But they call their app Sizzle, kind of like Tinder. And honestly, have any of you guys ever had Oscar Mayer bacon? Because it fucking sucks. It's
Does it?
pretty terrible stuff. Like, I don't
Yeah,
like
but
it.
this isn't necessarily asking if you like their bacon. It's just bacon in general.
It
So
says Oscar, but like, I feel like if you're, this, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It bothers me. And plus, maybe it's just that I just don't like.
you're
the
just saying
brand.
that because you're married now. That's why you're against it. You've already found your perfect person. Don't need dating bacon apps.
I'm against bacon-based. I'm against meat-based dating. Poultry.
And I've set up an OkCupid account for like 3 days, and it was too. It's like then I realized that anyone who I looked at their profile could see that I looked at it, so I deleted my account. So it's just too hard. I'd rather die alone than ever have to deal with any of it.
So, like, one thing you said that bothered me is you said, like, she's out of my league. And that's, like, wrong to say. Just don't. There's no leagues, man.
You
Yeah,
can
no,
hire.
Like,
There's
Joe's
no
actually-
league, only type. But then, like, I'm also like, I'm a terrible human being with terrible self-esteem. So
I know, but like nobody's out of your league, and everybody just likes funny, confident people. So
Joe's
you
gonna
pull
start
two-
another
So great,
website
fucking-
in short.
So
Joe's gonna start another website and very short podcast where he's gonna play matchmaker for people. So if you want to be his first client,
no thanks.
Yeah, don't worry.
like you
I'll
saw
set
that
up
movie
somebody-
with Will Smith, it'll be nothing like that movie.
If I was gonna set up Eric with a client right now, it would be like a sex man.
Now you sound like a fucking pimp. Well, if I was gonna set him up with one of my clients, you like
I would set Eric up with somebody who just wants to bang like all the time for like 3 months straight, and until it's like sickening him how much this person wants to bang, and then once that's out of his system, then we can move on to the next one. That's like a possibility.
What if that's not even in my system? Like,
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. You need. Maybe it only takes 2 weeks. I'm just saying.
2 minutes.
maybe
Hey, you want to
it's-
do it? Not really. It's out of
Maybe
my
it's
system.
already out of your
Done.
system. I don't know.
No thanks. I'll just die alone.
But no, dude.
No,
no.
dating's too hard. I'd rather just.
No, don't even
dating's
date. Just.
dating's too hard, and I still haven't beat Metal Gear 5.
I don't think date. I don't think you need to be dating. You just need to be out there. Be available. I don't know. You don't even need to find anybody. That's bullshit anyway.
Joe's just trying to live vicariously through you because he
Yeah.
gave all that up.
Yeah, Eric.
He can't
God,
go back.
You need to try some kinky shit that Sarah's not into. Could you do that for me?
And then
That'd
just
be
tell
great.
me all about it.
Just tell me everything, all the details.
I mean, in fact, here's a list of things I wish I had done. Could you just try this
Just,
list
yeah,
out?
I got the
and tell
halfway
me?
through this list. If you just take some pictures every time. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I was thinking, like, man, I never want to be one of those people that are out of touch with like single people, and then I'm like, I'm totally that guy. I thought about it, like, just that having that thought means I'm totally out of touch, and I'm like, well, I've accepted that. 'Cause
Yeah, it's like the kids at school, and they use language, and I try to use it like, hey, yeah, your eyebrows are on fleek, and like, Mr. Dutch, that's just stupid. Like, you sound like an idiot, and then they laugh at me. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. That's what you sound like with the dating game. Like, yeah, you just got to get back out there and give it a try.
Give it
Yeah,
the
you've
good
been
old
so
college
far out
try,
of it, yeah.
son. You just get over the good old 1-2 punch. Speaking of that, Swag Nozzle released a episode on his YouTube channel.
He is not Swag Nozzle anymore.
The artist formerly known as Swag
He's
Nozzle.
Motive now, or Motave.
Motave. God, why did he change his fucking Prince released a YouTube video called 1-2 Punch? And I was like, what the fuck? He's taking our shit. I was like, we should have copywrote that. And that's
We
really
should
Eric's
copyright that thing we didn't invent.
thing. Did you not invent
Like the
that?
Happy Birthday song.
Yeah, isn't that bullshit? The Happy Birthday song copywritten?
Yeah.
We can't even sing it. It's if we sang Happy Birthday on YouTube, they could take it down because of copyright.
They would they would take the monetization
Yeah,
out.
they would. Because it's a copywritten piece of art, and that's why you hear in every movie it's like Happy Birthday from
Well,
all
I
of us.
was-
Yeah,
I was gonna put Survivor behind our music as our music bed tonight, but I was afraid they might shut us down too.
What does that mean? Did something happen to Survivor?
No, don't worry about Kim Davis and them playing Survivor behind there and getting sued.
What?
No, you're so far out of the loop on current events.
Dude,
Kim Da-
The thing is, like, I'm married now, so it's like a lot of my time.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Who's Kim Davis?
I don't know. Who gives a shit?
Oh, that whole bitch. Okay, got it. And I refer to her as bitch, not loosely. Anyway, yeah, I know who all this is about.
Anyway, let's not loosely wrap this shit up and do it forcefully and start plugging each other.
All right.
My plug for this week, I plugged it once before, but I finally, but it was a long time ago. There's this show they do it on Twitch every Thursday called Critical Role, where a bunch of these really awesome voice actors from all kinds of video games and anime and all this shit play Dungeons and Dragons, and it's really fucking awesome. But they've been doing it for a while now. They're like 23 episodes in.
And we need to copyright that shit.
And I found out that they finally started releasing them on YouTube, so you can just fucking watch all of them. You don't have to like go to Twitch and go through archives and stuff like that. I will warn you, they're long. They can be 2.5, 3 hours. They can be a while. So you're not gonna like. I don't think I ever really sit through a whole one in one session. I usually stop and then like come back later or something like that. But it's really fucking awesome. Their DM's great, and they're all really awesome voice actors, and they get really into it, and it's fucking awesome.
So it's like, who's this guy that emailed us? This would be the thing that Fuzzy Nuggets should be watching if you wanted to vicariously live through somebody's D&D life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said ours specifically.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, if you wanted to watch somebody like successful and good at it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
If you want to watch people of note and talent, then this is the thing for you.
My plug for this week is the PC Perspective podcast. I like that show a lot, and they do some pretty good hardware news. And sometimes Ryan Shrout can kind of be a jerk, but most of the time he's pretty insightful, and I like his site and stuff. So go check him out. It's pcpeer.com, pcper.com. But if you go pcper.com/podcast, there it is. That's the show. Go check it out.
And I'm going to plug the JCE Facebook page, because Joe posts shit on there like it's going out of style.
Yeah.
And I occasionally post on there just so that he's not the only one who posts things on there.
It's your fault if I ruin the show, guys.
No, I actually, part of me likes it, because at least it keeps some kind of interaction between people. But the only downside is then I get all the spam of all the people who are liking it, because I'm like, I didn't post it, don't care that much.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding, I care.
Oh, man, like, it's so weird when somebody else posts on the account, because it's like, who the fuck? Wait, who did this? Like, oh, yeah, there's 2 other people that have access to this thing. But it's, yeah, I don't know. I like doing it. And actually, the JCE Facebook account, it's basically like, I hate my Facebook account so much that I would share these things on my account, but now I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'll just do it through the Just Cool Enough one, and I'll like.
First of all, I'm going to unfriend all the listeners that have friended me so that they can get all of this through the Facebook account for JCE.
Right. Don't follow me. I'm an idiot. Follow the Just Cool Enough Facebook account. At least you get to stay in touch with the things that Ike is posting about hair or something.
What?
Her hair changed.
It did, but that's because she was wearing a wig. Anyway, if you don't know what we're talking about, you can head over to Just Cool Enough's Facebook account by searching for it, and then you'll know that we're talking about the Star Trek actress who exposed herself to 3 children.
Oh, God.
Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe
Don't do that, Ike.
No, well, not expose myself, but because I'm on Star Trek. Once I get on Star Trek, then we'll talk. But maybe the stories that the monkeys find for me to share each week that I don't, maybe I'll just use this as an outlet to
That's a
post
really good
stuff.
idea. I didn't get to talk about any of the topics that I put, but that's okay. We'll have plenty of stuff next week. I do want to say, as always, a big thank you to Alpha Geek Radio, Alpha Geek TV, the whole Alpha Geek empire ran by Gnomewise, a.k.a. Todd. Just a big thank you for having us on the live streaming. Go check out their lovely shows. There are so many good ones on there. Hockey Buzz, Into the Nexus, which I currently listen to. Nerd Parents, which I don't listen to.
For all that Nexus gaming you play.
Oh yeah, I live vicariously through that show. I'm up on I'm up on the news because of it. But anyway, go check it out. There's a lot of good shows over there. And actually, if you want to start your own podcast, you can start a podcast for free in under 5 minutes with ShoutEngine.com. We are growing so much over at ShoutEngine, and if you want to start a podcast or know somebody who does, that's the place to send them because it's pretty much free unless you get really successful, and then when you're really successful, we might ask you for like $10, and that's kind of our policy. So go check it out, shoutengine.com. I know I have another plug, but I can't remember, so I'm just gonna
I got one more. I'm gonna try to make a shirt, and by that maybe just buy a white T-shirt. And for everyone who donates money to help me go see Joe, for every $10, I'm gonna put a tag in the hat, and then I'm gonna have Joe and myself sign the shirt when we get together, and I'll even record it. Have somebody record it. We can sign the shirt, and then we'll send it. We'll do a drawing and send it to the person.
To anybody who's donated already.
Well, you got a ticket in it. So yeah, like I think Brady is the only person who's donated so far. It was $50. Do we?
Brady, thanks a bunch for that money. Like $50, that's like almost a new game on a console if you're a
No,
peasant.
but that's me going to see you, Joe. We're not getting you a game on a console.
Why don't you just give me a game and you don't have to come see me?
Because I can't get my money back, Joe. That's $800 I'm never going to see again.
Don't worry about it.
I know a guy who knows the guy who can take care of it. Don't worry.
Oh man, we can't talk about that right now.
We can't talk about a lot of shit because the show's over. Thank you guys so much for listening. You can always check out the website, justcoolenough.com, with all our garbage on it. But until next week, have a wonderful weekend and fuck off.
I was going to say fuck you,
hey,
Joe.
Hey!
Since he likes it so much.
What? On the face.